Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ka Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. All right, this is Ratazah once again with a in transit / impromptu video. All right, I just want to hit a few points on this story that's been circulating within the past day or so with this young black girl, all right, that got stabbed and basically killed, all right, out there in Oakland, all right. And the story's been, it's been hitting the internet pretty hard. People are reacting to it, and again, this is just another scenario that tells or confirms what we've been basically pushing through our videos, man, beginning with the apostles and the elders on down to the rest of the brothers. All right, that there's going to be a race war in America, man. All right, you see the racial tension is constantly intensifying. It's getting worse. All right, you got these so-called white supremacist groups starting to emerge. You got movies like The Purge. All right, that it's called the first Purge. All right, it came out I think on the 4th of July. Basically, in that movie, they show you the race war and the racial tension. So. This is just one scenario of many to come, man. All right, it's going to be more, racially based murders. You're going to have more these white supremacist groups. Like I said, raising up. They're going to be just killing blacks, man, and it's going to incite a race war. All right, so I'm going to just read an excerpt from this article. And I'm going to get a few scriptures that goes into that. This is from Newsweek. It says, who is John Lee Cowell? Oakland, Nia Wilson, Bart stabbing suspect arrested after MacArthur Station attack. 2 sisters were on a platform in the MacArthur Bay Area station when they were attacked. All right? And it's the picture of this devil. Okay? It says, the suspect in a fatal stabbing of a woman and the wounding of her sister at the MacArthur Bay Area Rapid Transit Station on Sunday was arrested on a train to Antioch after being on a run for 21 hours. All right, so they actually caught this guy. All right, at first he was on a run, they couldn't find him. Now I guess they caught him. It says BART Police Chief Carlos Rojas, if I'm saying that right, told a news conference that an anonymous tip from a rider on the BART train led to the arrest of John Lee Cowell, 27, the Associated Press reported. Police intercepted the train at Pleasant Hill BART station and arrested the patrol felon. All right, ABC 7 reported Cowell had no weapon and did not resist arrest, Rojas said. Yeah, man, so these devils are getting bold, man. All right, here it is, they being petty. Like, we brought out of camp last week. Basically, nobody's feeling the so-called white man. Even these regular average Jake, they ain't really feeling you devils, man. And these devils are going to get a lot more petty. They're going to get a lot more aggressive. All right? Hell, even dealing with brothers, I can't remember who did a video on it, but somebody did a video recently going inside these devils are going to be getting more aggressive at as far as camps is concerned, man. They're going to be coming up, trying to incite a fight and things of that nature. It says police launched a manhunt on Sunday after 18-year-old Nia Wilson was stabbed to death, and her sister Latifah Wilson, 25, was wounded on the platform at MacArthur BART station. Nia Wilson died from her injuries at the scene, while Latifah Wilson remained in critical condition in hospital Monday. All right. So, man, you know what that says, too? That says a lot, because you so-called black woman, a lot of you think you're going to be exempt, and the so-called white man is not going to come down on you. Nah, you included in that, too. All right? It ain't just the so-called black man and Hispanic man and Native Indian man. You women are at the top of the list, man. All right, if I got time, I might grab a scripture on that. All right, because you black women, a lot of y'all are really coons for the so-called white man. We always say that, you know, you got men that are coons, but really the black woman is the top coon on the earth, man. All right, she is in complete cahoots with the so-called white man. All right, you see how he really feels about you, man. All right, let me get a scripture. All right, going into the race wars. All right, it's the second Esdras, chapter 15, verse. I'm gonna start at 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." All right, and that's what we push out there to the people, man, on the airways, man. Woe to the world. The word "woe" means destruction, man. All right, it's a bad time that's coming, man. Woe to the world. All right, it says verse 15, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." All right, and we went into this scripture at camp last week, man. All right, the sword is dealing with what? Ultimately, the thermonuclear missiles, but overall it represents death, man. All right, it says for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. All right, and that's talking about the race wars, man. You got one group of people, the so-called white man, raising up, fighting against the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, because in the end, all the tribes going to come back together at some point. All right, Judah being the so-called blacks, so-called Negroes. All right, you got Gad, so-called Native Indians, and you got the rest of the Latin tribes, man. All right, the so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Mexicans. They eventually going to all come together. There's going to be a race war, man. White, so-called, as they say, white against black, man. All right, Israelites against Esau. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, right? Weapons, all right, guns, literal swords, all right. Like this guy, John Lee Caldwell, he had a knife, all right. He stabbed the girl to death, man. The other one got wounded. It says, verse 16, "For there shall be sedition among men," all right, meaning there's going to be uproars, chaos, man. I'm going to get that scripture next. Second Esdras, the 9th chapter. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Meaning it's going to be just all out anarchy and chaos, man. Just like how they display in those Purge movies, man. All right, you can watch all four. You can watch the first Purge that came out this month. You can watch all the other movies. It shows you depictions of, those uproars, man. All right, and the people not having regards for the kings or princes. That's going into the governments. All right, so that's the time that's coming, man. That's the times that we leading up to. All right, I think that was. Let me see. I think that was it. Pretty much it on the article. I mean, the story is pretty. It's pretty hot right now. You can read it on your own. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna get on that. I'm gonna get one more scripture. Second Esdras chapter 9, and I'm gonna just probably end the video on that. Just a short impromptu video on my way back to the house. All right, it's Second Esdras 9, and starting at the top. Okay, and we also brought this video out at camp last. This scripture out at camp last week. Second Esdras 9:1. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself." All right, and that's what we're doing, man. The prophets of the Lord, we're measuring the time. All right, when you measure something, you're basically paying close attention and you're analyzing and watching. All right, and that's what we're doing as the prophets of the Lord, primarily the men of Great Millstone, man. All right, because these other camps is becoming more and more evident and clear who is serious and who's playing games, man. All right, the men of Great Millstone, we're measuring the time, and it says what? Diligently, man. All right, that's why you're seeing the high volume of videos going out. Brothers going into prophecy, going into current events, going into the scriptures, man. And right, it says, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right, so there's a list or a certain number of events that are going to take place that you're going to see when you measure the time. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushua spoke about it in the scriptures, man. That's why it says, which I have told thee before. All right, because the Most High mentioned it in the Bible. But now we can go back and measure it and compare it with the times that we in. And we know that it's the time that the Most High is about to visit the world, man. All right, verse 3 says, therefore, it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, all right, and uproars, that's what we read about in 2nd Ezra's, the 15th chapter, where it says there should be sedition among men, uproars, riots, all right, race wars, you know. It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High, spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right, so basically, what's that? Prophecy, man. All right, prophecy, and that's what we pushing. All right, through the spirit of Yahweh Shah, we pushing prophecy, warning you, and telling you what's to come, man. All right. So, hey, man, with that, man, you know, it's going to be more, like brothers have been doing videos on it. It's going to be, this is one of many scenarios to come, ultimately leading to just all-out war in America, man. All right, the so-called white man, which is the Edomites, against the so-called Negroes and Hispanics, which are indeed the real Israelites, man. All right, so it's going to come to that point, man. You know, so brothers just got to stay down, you know, pray, and just keep doing what we doing, man, pushing this word. And the Most High going to protect us in that day. But, you know, with that, I just wanted to hit that quick point. You know, Lord willing, that was edifying. All right, with that, all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rakak Wadash. To the next video, Shalom.